If you've walked out of an accounting paper thinking it was unfair, it probably wasn't. You were just thinking like a learner and not an examiner. And word from the street is that paper 1 did a number on most people, but we're going to make sure that paper 2 is a different story. You see, paper 2 rewards structure over speed, logic over memorization. Once you see how marks are awarded, you stop guessing and start scoring. Today we're going through 5 sections that decide your marks: manufacturing, reconciliations, stock valuation, budgeting, and debtor's age analysis. By the end, you'll know how to think like a marker and answer like one. Hi, my name is Nomhlolani and I'm an accounting science student at the University of South Africa. And on this channel, I help you get good grades. Let's start with the section that terrifies most learners: cost accounting and manufacturing. Let's say you are given these figures from Tech Manufacturers, a company that assembles inverters, solar inverters. Let's say you are given the following table. But before you rush into numbers, remember, the examiner wants your layout. So you'll probably be given a box to calculate for your statement, your manufacturing statement. You'll be given a boxes to calculate your prime cost, total manufacturing, and cost of production. So when you're calculating these figures, you must also use headings for what you are calculating. Like for example, when you're calculating your prime cost, you must indicate that you're using your direct material and your direct labor. The figures, and insert the figures from your information. And after calculating your prime cost, you calculate your total manufacturing cost, which is your prime cost and your factory overheads. But before we continue, I just want to let you know that the adjustments and the information you get in your exam is very nuanced and very different from what I'll be showing you here. This is just to give you a clear picture on how to go on about answering in your exams. But there are channels out there that do past papers and do certain adjustments, like the content and other channels. So after you're done watching this video, please go check them out and do past papers. They will help you a lot. Let's continue. In step 2, you calculate your total manufacturing, which is your prime cost and your factory overhead. Sometimes you might not get these figures, but you'll get a statement telling you that there's a certain amount of money that must be allocated to wages for the people who are directly involved in the production process. And you'll find out that in those amounts, there's certain amounts that are included that must be paid to people or used to purchase things that are not directly involved in the production process. So it's important to read your information. Like for example, they might say that in the salary of, or they might say in your direct labor cost, there is 3,000 worth of office wages that must still be allocated. So that does not go down as your prime cost. It will fall under your factory overhead. And the other things that fall under your factory overhead are your salaries for people that are not directly involved in the production process, your rent, your water and electricity. And I would like for you to go find examples on how rent is calculated, because sometimes they might want you to calculate it in the form of a ratio or in the form of spaces. So they might tell you that the factory is a total of 200 meters squared, but the business or the manufacturing team uses about like 100 meters squared of that space. And that's how we're going to allocate the money to pay the rent for the space, which falls under your factory overhead. So it's really good to do different examples to get used to calculating. No matter what they ask from you, you will be able to calculate it. And then you move on to your cost of production, which is your total manufacturing cost, work in progress, opening work in progress, and your closing work in progress. So work in progress is the unfinished goods that the factory have not yet used. The reason that we are adding the opening work in progress from the previous financial period or working period, we assume that in this new working period, we are going to complete the items that have not yet been used. Not used necessarily, but that have not yet been fully built, because this is a production company, and we subtract our closing work in progress because it is unfinished goods. And what I should also note is that they might give you in your statement for direct material, they might specify that there is a certain amount of goods that has been purchased, but goods that have been purchased are different. Let's say material that has been purchased is different from material that has been used. In your manufacturing statement, you only account for material that has been used. So that is why our closing work in progress is our opening in this financial period. We assume that we are going to finish those unfinished goods from last financial period, which were our closing, and this financial period is our opening. So we add it with the total manufacturing, and then we subtract our closing work in progress, which is going to be our opening in the next financial period or working period. And that's how it works, the logic behind this. Sometimes you might find that you are not given the opening work in progress for this current period. So you must be able to work backwards. You might find that in your statement, some other figures have been filled in and you are missing other figures. So you must be able to work backwards, meaning that whatever you subtracted, now you're going to add. Whatever you added, you're going to subtract. Now, which means, let's say you were given your total manufacturing, your closing work in progress, and the cost of production. Now, you're going to add your total manufacturing with your closing work in progress that we usually subtract. Now you're going to add it with total manufacturing cost and subtract our total cost of production at the end to give us our opening work in progress. You see, even if your figures are off, as long as you add where you have to add and subtract where you have to subtract, you will get your method marks. And make sure that you underline each total, use clear headings, and keep your figures and columns aligned. Markers award clarity, not speed. And remember, slow is fast and fast is slow. Meaning that if you read your information once and carefully, you don't have to read it again, which will help you move faster throughout your paper. Now let's move to Zamani Traders, a small wholesale business. They've got mismatched balances and your job is to think like a detective. With creditors reconciliation and debtors reconciliation, they are quite similar. All you have to do is reconcile your creditors control with your creditors list or your debtors control with your debtors list. There might be a duplicate payment or missing discounts. The mark isn't for balancing totals. It's for spotting the cause. Once you adjust and they both agree, you have earned another reasoning mark. That's what the markers want to see, is that you understand what is going on and you are able to omit those mistakes. Sometimes it might happen you are omitting those mistakes and your totals don't balance at the end. But I can guarantee you, if you are able to omit a few mistakes like reversing duplicate payments and adding the discounts, you will get marks for that, even if your totals don't balance. And that's better than nothing. And the same thing goes for your bank reconciliation. There are items that do not appear in your bank statement but appear in your journals, and the items that appear only in your journals and not in your bank statement. And right there, they are telling you what needs to be omitted. And another thing that people lose marks for in their bank reconciliation statement is timing errors. You might find that the business received a payment after they closed their books. Let's say the business closes their books on the 25th of every month, and in a particular month they receive a payment on the 27th of the month. And now your only job is to recognize that payment in your books. And please read your instructions very carefully. If your creditors or your debtors reconciliation tell you to correct the control account, you don't have to draw the list. And remember that your format earns as many marks as your figures. So make sure you keep your work concise and clear. And now moving on to stock valuation. Let's say you are working for Kanya Electronics, selling phone accessories, and you receive the following information. And you are told that the business uses the FIFO method, which means the first in is first out. And you'll be asked, most likely you'll be asked to calculate your closing stock and sometimes your cost of sales. And your formula for cost of sales is the same for your FIFO method and your weighted average, which is your opening stock added with your purchases, carriage and purchases, and you subtract your closing stock. When you're calculating your closing stock for your FIFO, you calculate it like this. Let's say you are told that you have 15 units left worth of closing stock. So you're going to take your closing units and subtract them with your opening units, and which is equal to 5. And now we know that 5 units with 50 Rand are left in our business, which means the other 10 are worth 60 Rand, because 20 minus 10 is 10, and that is our closing stock using our FIFO method. Quite simple, isn't it? And for our weighted average, we take the total cost of our stock and divide it with the total units that we have bought. In our total cost, that amount includes our opening stock, our purchases, and our carriage on purchases, divided by the number of units we have bought. And we'll get our average per unit, and we'll multiply that money with the units of our closing stock. When you're doing your calculations, always label your calculations. Markers love neat stock tables. That's 3 marks. Next up, Buhle Boutique. They are preparing a cash budget for July. And you are given the following figures. And let's say you are given more adjustments, like the owner plans a 4% salary increase on 62,000 to 64,480. And you must pay the creditors. The first thing you want to do is calculate your closing cash and lay it out month by month. Opening, receipts, payment, and closing. That's the format examiners want for your cash budget. Even with small errors, a clean labeled layout earns method marks. And now we'll move on to debtors age analysis and interpretation. And you're given the following information. And the question says, comment on credit control. A good answer is, when you analyze this information, you can say that most debtors pay within 30 days, which means a strong credit control. The 1,000 over 90 days shows a minor risk of bad debt. One clear sentence with full marks. Interpretation is telling a story behind the numbers, such as liquidity. Can the business pay short-term debts? And credit risk, are overdue accounts increasing? And efficiency, is the cash collection improving? Now let's say that 15,000 was between 61 and 90 days. We can mention that the business does not have a strong credit control, and they might be at a risk of having bad debts. As I've said at the beginning, that this video is not a video with detailed explanations, but I will advise you to go check out other channels like the Countheads and other people who did previous question papers. That's where you will learn how to deal with nuance adjustments. And now we'll do a quick summary of what we went through in this video. We went through manufacturing, show your steps and your totals. With reconciliations, try and find out what is causing the difference. And especially with your bank reconciliation, try and find those timing errors when the deposits were made. With stock, label your methods and units. With budgeting, show all your receipts and payments. And with your debtors, comment clearly on age analysis. During exam day, when you receive your paper, breathe. During your reading time, scan the paper and start with the sections that you know very well. Paper 2 rewards clarity over speed, logic over memorization. You've got this. Stay calm, work neatly, and think like a marker. See you in the next one.